Today's topic is Claritysoft for Beginners. This webinar is designed for those of you who are just starting with Claritysoft, or perhaps for those of you who just need a refresher. Today we'll do a quick overview of all the different modules in Claritysoft, talk about navigating in the database. There are different methods for navigation, some shortcut type methods. Screen layout, the parts of the screen, buttons, filters, things like that, drop-down menus, and then a basic workflow, how to start with a record in the Leads module if you're using the Leads module, convert it to an account and contact record, create a sales opportunity, and then perhaps convert that opportunity to a quote or a sale within the database. With that, we'll go ahead and get started. So with Claritysoft Live, you open your web browser, and we recommend Google Chrome because it is 100% compatible with Claritysoft Live, and type claritycrm.com in the address line at the top. When you press the enter key, it will bring you to your login screen. And here you will enter your login name, whatever your admin person gives you, and your password, and your database name. Your login name and your database name are not case sensitive, so you don't need to worry about typing caps, upper lower case, but your password is. So if something balks at you here, it could be you typed your password incorrectly. You can click here for Remember Me, and then the system will remember your login name and your database name, and then you just have to type the password next time, or Google can remember your password as well. So we come into the database, and when you first log in, you may land either in the home module here, in which case you may be facing a blank screen. Mine has some charts things up on it, or you might end up in the accounts module. Now this is changeable by you. You can decide where you want to land when you come into the database. So I guess I'll mention that first. How do you do that? In here, when you first log in, up here at the top, you'll see your name. And this is where you would go to log back out if you want to. You also can go to settings. Now you can get to settings two ways, either here or by clicking on this gear shape up here. It doesn't matter which one you do. And when you go to settings, if you are simply a normal user in the system, you're going to see this section called My Settings, and then you'll have different settings here. This is where you can set your preferences so that when you log in, you are defaulting to which module do you want to go to when you first log in. So you can select any of the modules in the database. If you want to directly see your to-do list for the day, you could go to activities. If you want to see all your sales opportunities, you could go to opportunities. So you can pick and change it at any time. And then you also get to choose what is the default calendar view that you wish to see when you log in. I believe it defaults today. I've changed mine to work week. And then you have a date format, and you can set your time zone. This probably should be set already, so you shouldn't have to change it. But once you do that, you click apply to save any changes you've made. And then the next time you log out, log back in, it will land in the module that you have selected. Okay. Also, while we're here, you may also want to change your color scheme for your Claritysoft. So this is where you may change it as well if you've seen other coworkers have different colors on their Claritysoft screen. And if for some reason you need to change your password, you can do that under here as well. So all of this is under the My Settings that you can go to and make changes. Then your home module, to set it up, there's a settings button for it. Key indicators. You get different things that you can show that are going to pull values from the database. You may show up to 4 at any point in time. So if I turn some things off by unchecking them, then I can come in here and turn things back on. So perhaps well, I'll go back to active opportunities. I'm already showing total sales. So these key indicators are pulling the values from the database, whatever they are, and they will change and update as you're entering new information into the database. This is user controlled, so what you do is not controlled by anyone else or shown by anyone else, okay? And then the same thing with chart indicators. There are different charts here. You will see fewer charts in your list than I do because I have a list with some custom charts that were created in the dashboards module. Again, you may show up to 4 different charts over here. So again, you click in the check boxes and you will see those charts. Now let's return to the accounts module. In Claritysoft, accounts basically are your main module, let's say, where you're going to put in all of your company names that you work with. So any organizations, any companies that you work with will become an account record in the database. Associated with those accounts will then be your contact people. And the way Claritysoft has divided this up, at the account level, you can see all your contacts for your accounts. You can open an account record and see under the contacts tab, we have different tabs of data. When I click on the contacts tab, I can see how many contacts I have, and I can access the contacts from the account record. Also, I can go to the contacts module, and in the contacts module, Claritysoft takes and lists each contact separately so that you can see all of the people associated with one company. So we have 3M Company New York listed multiple times here because we have all of the different contacts that we just saw at the account level. So the difference between the account record or the account module and the contact module is strictly that at the account level, you're only seeing the company names. You can open a record to see the attached data, like the contacts and everything else. And at the contact level, you're seeing all of your people associated with those accounts. And each module really follows that pattern, because in opportunities, you're seeing a list of all of your sales opportunities that are associated with all your accounts. And the same thing in quotes and sales and activities. Activities is where all of your activities gather to show you a list of everything. Everything that you've either completed, everything that you have scheduled for all of your different customers or clients that you're working with. So that's basically the premise and the structure of the database, is that accounts are the glue, in a sense, that hold everything else together, and then everything else hangs off of the account record and then can be shown in its own separate module. So I can see at the account level, if I click here, this is called an expand button, I can see all the data associated with this one company, all the contacts, all the open activities that are scheduled with this company, all the closed activities that have been done with this company, support tickets, you may not have support module, email campaigns if you have the marketing module, attachments, everything is associated with this one account. And you can see here I have many, many opportunities that have been worked with this account. So that's the basic structure and concept of Claritysoft, is having the one account with many different types of data attached to it or associated with it. So you can choose which module to work in to decide, you know, what do you do during the day? Do you work mostly sales opportunities? Okay, then you would probably work in the opportunities module, and you can create new opportunities in here and work with your opportunities that you have to move them along. And then in an opportunity, you also can schedule activities and things. So when you're navigating in the system, you want to go to the module where you want to work, and then you can look up records in that particular module of what you want to see, okay? So that's kind of the basic layout of everything over here in the navigation panel. Also, just to let you know, depending upon your database setup, you may not see all of the modules over here that I have. You may, it's possible your company has decided you do not need to do quotes or sales. So you may not see these two modules. So, don't panic if you don't see everything that's here. It's how your database is set up. Each one is set up differently. Also in your database, another thing that can be controlled in the database is what records that you see. Each user in the database becomes an owner of a record, and sometimes you can see all records in the database, no matter who the owner is, and sometimes you're set up where you see only your own records. So there might be, let's say, I'll just take a number, 1,000 records in the database, but out of those 1,000 records, you can see 300 of them because those 300 belong to you. And then someone else can see 200 and so forth. So it all depends on how your company has set up the database. So sometimes you might have to ask questions about that, or they will tell you, usually if you're new on board or something like that. Okay? So let's go back to accounts and do some screen layout parts. As you move from module to module, you will see pretty much the same things at the top of the screen. The first box to your left is what we call our quick search. And again, if you have 1,000 records, 5,000 records, 10,000 records in the database, you don't need to scroll through all those records to find them. In my database right now, down at the bottom here, it always tells you how many there are. There are 309 records. And so you can look at the bottom and see what you have. And then down here, it shows you how many pages you have. And right now, my database is set to 20 results per page. So you can take the 309 divided by 20, and that figures out to the 16 pages that you're seeing, okay? So let's say I want to find something that's, down in the S's and the T's or whatever. I don't want to scroll page to page. So this is our quick search box. And up here, I can simply begin to start typing some letters. And I don't necessarily want to be very, very specific. I want to be somewhat generic here to see what I come up with. So you can see I started typing SAM and I came up with Samsung, okay? So I can come in here and type whatever combination of letters I'm looking for. And when I type it, I can either just wait a few seconds, which is what I'm doing right now, and Claritysoft will then start searching as soon as it senses you're not typing anymore. And it pulls up everything that matches that combination of letters. So what you want to see here is that the AMER does not need to be at the beginning, because here we have Advance America, okay? Here we have American Airlines. Here we have North America. So the combination of letters can be anywhere in the name of the company. It doesn't have to be at the beginning. So if you can't remember how the name starts, you don't have to. Just put in what you remember or think is in there, and then do a search and see what you come up with. And then, sometimes it triggers what else you were thinking of. So you want to be pretty generic in what you type here to find things, because if you get very specific, sometimes you don't find anything, because like BP here, you could type B period P period, and you aren't going to find this because this doesn't have periods in it. Those are the kinds of things you want to think about when you start typing or putting a comma in or something like that. So this is our quick search. You find it, you go to the record that you want, and you can open it and work with it. Okay, so if this was the one I was looking for, I can open the record and I can begin to do what I want to do with it. That's your quick search. And when you want to clear this out, you click this little X, and that will clear that filter and return you to your complete list. Then we have the spyglass button here, and we have different ways of filtering under here. I'm going to go to the global search first. The global search, the purpose of this one is to allow you to search across multiple modules. And you can see them right here. I want to include the leads module. I'm in accounts, so it already has that checked. And I want to include contacts. Maybe I'm looking for a specific person. Maybe I'm looking for a company. And I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's in leads. I don't know if it's in accounts. You know, I don't know. So again, I can come here and I can type. I'm going to hit enter. And then I find a list of matching companies, okay, and perhaps contacts. And then over here, it tells you this is an account. This is a contact person, because they were found with this account with global in it, okay? Here's another one. Here's a lead. So it tells you what module the record is in. It gives you the contact person's name, if there is one. It gives you the address, location, the phone, and more importantly, in some respects, it gives you the owner of the record. And then if you want to see the details of the record, you click on this, it opens a little window to give you some more information as to when it was created, when somebody last worked with it, that kind of information. So if you click the Go button, it will actually go to the record and open that account record. So can be helpful for searching, and where it becomes perhaps more helpful for those who might be in the database as an individual user, that means that you can only see your own records. You can't see what belongs to anyone else. And perhaps you get a new prospect or you get a new lead, and you don't know if that lead or prospect account is already in the database. So you can use your global search to find that company and see if it's there, and then see who the owner is. If you come up with nothing, then you'll know it's not there. So I don't know if I have, let's see if I've got sample. No, see, if I type in sample for sample company, I get nothing. So I can say, okay, I have this new prospect or this new lead for sample company. I can enter it. I'm pretty safe on doing that because nobody in the database has it. So you want to, whoops, and I forgot to do this, but so still nothing. So that's a good way to start when you want to put something new in, is to do a global search, see if it exists anywhere in the database. And if it doesn't, then you can say, okay, I can take this one and I can enter it. So that's what that purpose of that global search is. Then the next one I want to look at is advanced search. This one gives you a lot of power. You have different filters up here. And your filters, you have a form filter that allows you to type information into basically the data entry form for the record. And then you have a standard filter that gives you a little more control over selecting a field, and then a comparison of equal, not equal, contains, is empty, that kind of thing, and then entering a value. And then this one gives you, the time filter gives you the ability to select a date type field, and then say, what range do I want to find on? Do I want to find for this day, week, month, quarter, year? Okay, do I want to find for last week, last month, last quarter, last year? So these time filters, and these are really helpful in the reports that you do too. We have these in our reports. So you can search that way. And then the last way, if you use the products and services part of Claritysoft, you can search on products and find all of the accounts who purchased a certain product. Okay, so this is one to, if you haven't explored it, to explore. Now, before I do this, I'm going to step back a minute because I want to search on a field called type and another one called sector. And right now, I can't see those fields in my columns. And so I want to be able to see those so that when I finish my search, I can see that it actually worked the way it was supposed to work. So with these columns, each one of you as an individual user can make changes to this that doesn't affect anyone else. You go over here to this vertical ellipsis button and you click on column settings. And then you go on the left here and you find the columns you want to see. So maybe I want to bring city over. I don't want website, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to scroll down. So again, you can pull over whatever fields you have. Any custom fields that you have in the database will also be listed over here. Then down at the bottom, you have a sort column. By default, Claritysoft is sorting the account list by the account name. You can change it, okay, to what you want. And the results per page default is 20. I like to set mine at 100 just because it allows me to scroll a little more if I want to scroll. So it doesn't change the size. Sometimes people think it changes the size and they're afraid it'll go really small, but it doesn't change the size. It just gives you the ability to scroll up and down. That's all. So that's the only difference. All right, so I have set my columns and now I can see my sector, I can see status, which is mostly empty, and I can see type. So if I wanted to do a filter on one of these, I can see my results much more easily. So if I come up here and go to advanced search, let's say that we want to find everybody in the manufacturing sector. And we'll just do one for right now. So I click search. There it is. So out of the 309 records, 36 of them match the criteria where they're in the manufacturing sector. Okay. So this is something to practice as well, is learning how to do searches. And this is where the database really starts to shine for you, because now you can do all kinds of combinations of things. So if I do, let's see, let's do all the manufacturers in the state of Ohio. I think there's some. So I'm now searching two things. So now I get 7. Okay, so now it has to be manufacturing, it has to be Ohio. And if I wanted to further it down, I could say which city in Ohio. Okay, so do these searches, practice these searches because they can be helpful. And then the next really exciting thing I want to show you is with your advanced searches, when you create them, you can save them. So if I click on Save View, I can type Ohio manufacturers and hope I don't have another one already there. And it puts it in this list. So this is the next button over. This is a list of what we call views. And you can create different filters or views using advanced search and then save the names so that you can very quickly say, I want to see all my accounts, which is built in. Okay, takes me back to 309. And then I want to see my Ohio manufacturers. Bingo, done. I don't have to recreate the filter every time I want to run it. So explore that with the views, okay? And then you can switch to different views. You can see there's some that are created this month. These are new account records created this month, which would be February, so only into the 5th day of February. Created this week would just be this week, so on and so forth. This one is a good one. It's last touch greater than 30 days. So the last touch date is the field that will tell you the date of the last completed activity for the account. And you'd want to go to your column settings and pull that up, and then you could run this filter and see all the people that you haven't touched for more than 30 days and go, you know, call them, email them, whatever you want to do or need to do to keep up with them. So those are the things that you can do there. And then you can also manage your views underneath the spyglass, and it takes you to the list of all your views, and then you can edit the filter, you can clone it or copy it, you can delete it if you want, and you can share it with other users. So if I knew other users in the system needed this filter, I could choose which ones I want to share it with, okay? So very quick intro to filtering and views. All the modules have the spyglass button, and all the modules have the advanced search. Okay, so you can use those to create views in your different modules. The other way you can restrict your views here is what user. Again, it may be restricted already if you're an individual user. If you're an all user, then you could choose your own name and say, I only want to see my own records, or you could create a view for your name, whatever works for you. And you just select. So if I come down here, say I only want to see mine, then these are my records over here. I own 109 of the 309 in the database. Okay, so that's there. So just explore. I guess that's the one thing with Claritysoft is you just need to explore. Go point to things, try things. This circle here is refresh. If you did something and it doesn't seem like it updated itself, you just click this button to refresh the screen. All right. This is list all if you did a filter of some sort, and again, it doesn't seem like it went back to the whole list, you can click list all and it will clear out the filters. So those are the buttons at the top. Then list actions. These are options that you can do with lists of things. I'm going to come back to this in a minute because I want to walk through some other procedural types of things here to get us started with a flow, all right? In Claritysoft, as I said, your accounts can be where you start. The leads module is optional, probably maybe half, a third to one half of the people that I work with decide to use leads, and that's fine. The leads module basically is a place for you to enter new leads that you might pick up at a trade show or a convention or a conference or something like that, and you don't want to put them into your accounts because they're unqualified leads. And so you have a place here in the leads module to be able to import them, okay? And then people can start working with the leads to qualify them. And then as you qualify them, you can decide to convert them. So again, filters at the top, you can search for a specific company. You have advanced search, global search, okay? And then here you have a filter for the status of a lead. And you can have new leads, working leads, closed leads, and converted. Now they've added some new ones here. So we've got working leads, are ones that you've already contacted and you're working with. So it's just a way to filter them out to see, you know, these are the guys you already started working with and you can continue to work with them. And then a closed lead would be one that you mark as closed, that after you've talked with them for a while, they're just not going to go anywhere. You can mark them as closed. And then a converted lead, Claritysoft will mark as being converted. These are the ones that you've talked to them and they are ready. You move them forward to create an opportunity with them, and that's when you convert them. So use these filters here. The default filter is new, okay, for the status. And then again, you can filter by user. You've got your same buttons here. So let's do this. Let's add a brand new lead. I always like to do a search first. I'm putting in sample company today, and I do not find sample company in here. So I like to do a search just to make sure I'm not going to create a duplicate. So then I can clear this with the X, and then I'm going to click New Lead. And in the lead record, both the company name and the contact person name are in the same record, okay? That when you convert it, it splits them, account for the company, contact for the person, because then on the other side, you can add more contacts, okay? So I'm just filling this in. Again, you want to fill in as much information as you know. Try to be complete as possible. If you have somebody's business card, you should have pretty good information. What you don't have, you can skip, but try to put stuff in, because the more complete it is, and this one you may not know if you haven't talked to the person first. What preferred contact method do they have? You know, what you don't know because you haven't spoken with them, you can leave blank, but try to fill it in. Now again, if you're using the leads module, you may see different fields because your company has added custom fields. So you put in whatever you have for the different fields that are here. For example, you may not see this market segment and these choices, okay? Because this is something we created. Here are your status, new or working at this point in time, okay? Stage, this is a customizable field, so you may see different stages here, or you may not see the field at all. And then quality is the same way. It's going to have different choices here, and, you know, or it might not be there at all. And then the lead source, how did they come to you? Okay, so if they came in through a convention, we can put that in. And then the owner, any person who's a user in the system can be assigned as the owner of a lead record. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to slide down here and click the Save button. Email not in a valid form. Oh, well, that's true. See, it catches your mistakes for you. Somebody was probably sitting out there. She didn't type that right. Okay, so I've saved the record, and it now puts the name of the person at the top, the company underneath, and the address information. And so I have all this information, but also notice now I have some tabs. I have the Details tab is what I'm on. That's where all my fields are. And then I have open activities, closed activities, email campaigns you will not see if you are not using the marketing module. So don't panic if that's not there, okay? You will see attachments. You won't see this probably, all right? So when you're working with a lead, you're starting to add activities. And in Claritysoft, this is one of the important things that you do in the database. And the purpose of it is to track your activities that you do with your people that you're working with, because then it allows you to build a history with them. And this is where, if you're trying to do this in Outlook or spreadsheets, it really starts to fall apart, because it just isn't structured to do that, because you might have 50 activities with one person and 10 with another. So there's no way to really control that using spreadsheets and stuff. So in Claritysoft, doesn't matter. It can take as many activities as you need for a person or as few. So we have two types of activities. Open activities. Open activities are ones that are scheduled for tomorrow and on out into the future. The other term for an open activity is one that is in process and one that is new. Those three things mean the same thing, okay? A closed activity is one that's already finished. And the terms for closed activities are closed activity, completed, and to log an activity. So the terminology there, those all mean the same. So, because here you point to closed activities, up here you point to the green button that says log an activity. That is going to create a closed or completed activity, all right? So let's pretend we call Susan. We want to log our call. So we choose that. We choose call. Now again, this list is custom, so your list may be different than mine. The contact is already there. The subject is, again, why in the world did you call her? You know, again, put things in here that are going to trigger your memory and allow you to, at a quick glance, say, oh yeah, I remember I talked to Susan about this. So you put that in the subject line is usually the purpose of the activity. And then in the notes, you're going to type your actual notes about the result of the call or the activity. So type, I'm going to put complete notes. Okay. The better your notes are, the less you have to remember because it's going to be here. So we click save, and we now have a closed activity, one completed activity. Well, maybe I want to remind myself to call Susan back because of the result of the conversation we had. I want to call her again, and I want to remind myself to do it. So I can click this new activity button. That's the shortcut way. Or I can click on the Open Activities tab, click plus. That will add a new activity. Each of you will pick a way that you want to do it. Does not matter. Subject would be, follow up to initial call, to discuss whatever. It can be a call, it could be an email you want to send, it could be a meeting, but we'll make it another call. And contact is already there. Now this window is different, notice, has more options in it than the log activity. And you can pick a high, medium, or low priority. You can put a location in if you want to. And then the all-important thing is to select the date. When do you want to call her back? Well, maybe you don't want to call her back until next week. Okay? And then you can set a time. If it's a phone call, time is not terribly crucial unless she tells you mornings are better, something like that. And you can set a time. A half an hour is fine. And then you also, when you create a new activity, can decide to show it on your calendar so that you can see it on your calendar. And then you can put notes in here, if you need to prepare in some way, put some notes in to tell yourself how to prepare. The activities assigned to you, okay, but you can assign activities to other users if you wish. And then the activity goes on their activities list. So we've created these two activities. One's completed, one is in process for the 13th. So when you put it on your calendar, you can go to your Claritysoft calendar, and there it is. Then if you have the Outlook plugin installed, or now with the Google add-in, you can sync your Claritysoft calendar with your Outlook calendar and or your Google calendar, depending on which one you're working with. And if you go to the help system, it will give you directions on setting up those plugins or add-ins. You can also open an activity from here and view it. You could put your final notes in, type your notes. You did this, and you can complete it right here in the calendar. You also can add activities. See, it goes green when you mark it complete. You can also add activities in the calendar. So if you click on a time, it'll bring up a new activity here, and you can type in new call, and it'll default to meeting, but you can change it to anything. And now here's the thing that you have to remember though. Because you started in the calendar, it doesn't know what contact it needs to attach to because you're in the calendar, you're not at an account or anywhere. So what you have to do is start typing the person's name until you see the person, and then you select them. It's already got the date and the time, and it already says show on calendar. So then you just need to put any preparation notes and then save it. So it will show it on your calendar, but it's also going to be in your activities, and it will be under sample company activities. All right. So let's just say Susan is ready to move forward. You know, we got to move this along here. So I can do this. I can go back to my details screen here and make sure that I've filled everything in and make it as complete as possible, and then click Save. That will leave the record open so I don't have to go hunt for sample company in the search, but then I'm ready to convert it. So I can slide up here to this vertical ellipsis button, and it says Convert Lead. So whenever your lead is ready to move forward and create a sales opportunity, that's your trigger, and each of your company can decide what's the trigger. Is it we've set a demo of some sort, we've scheduled some particular type of meeting, you all will need to discuss what is your trigger for converting. Again, it doesn't matter to Claritysoft, it matters to you. So it's going to create an account for sample company. Site is only needed if there are multiple sample companies in the database and they're in different cities or locations, and you would have to put something there, but this one there isn't. Susan is the contact. Susan is the owner. I should have probably changed the names. And I want to create an opportunity. So I click Apply, and it will convert the lead. Now, when I look here for sample company under new, they won't be there, but if I go to converted, sample company will be in the list. And I do have to, I'm going to scroll just so you see, there it is. Okay. So there it is, it's converted. So it automatically changes that status for you. So you're not going to come back here to look at sample company and leads. You're done with it. Not coming back. It's converted. Okay. Now you're going to go to accounts, and sample company will now be an account. There it is. The data has come across, and I have my address information all came over. If there were matching custom fields in my record, then they would have come across. I can set the sector, what sector is this company? I'll stick them in manufacturing. Type. They're still a prospect. They're not a customer yet because they haven't made a purchase. All right. So I would want to fill in my fields here to make sure they're up to date and save it. But then you can also see that my contact of Susan came over and all her data. My open activity for the 13th came over. My closed activities that I did came over. So you don't lose anything. Everything transfers across. And here's my new sales opportunity. So I can click there to open it, and it has associated with it, and then I can choose my Sales stage, again, sales stages here may be different because this is customizable. And you decide, well, where are you? Are you past discovery? Are you ready to do a proposal? Again, it will probably depend on what your trigger was in the first place, where you are. And then the opportunity here, it assigns a number by default because it needs something to handle to hold on to. But you could take this out and you could type any opportunity name that you want. So if this was like a new big project, again, you could put the name of the project or whatever it is that helps identify it. So you can either retain the number or type something else in. And then your amount field at the beginning, you can simply type something in here as a guess. We think this opportunity is worth this much money. But as you start working the opportunity, then you can add a more specific amount, okay? Notice in opportunities, you also have activities. So when you're working your opportunities, you can add your activities in here. And you can see your account information right here. And you can see your contact information. So if you need the phone number, right here. Okay, so when you're in here, you don't have to keep going back to the other modules because you can see the information under the tabs here in the opportunity record. Now I'm going to slide down here and click Save. Then the other thing that you can do very quickly, if you put in a price list into Claritysoft, you can go to Products and Services, click the plus sign, and it will give you a list of product groups. And then when you click on a group, you'll see a list of specific products. And again, some companies do this, some do not. It just depends on your company and how you work. But if I wanted to pick several products here, and I could go to different folders and select, it lays them all in, and then all I have to do is put in how many they got. The price is already there, and it multiplies it out. So I can put in 20, and I can put in 20, and so it calculates it, and then it goes back to the detail, and now my amount field matches the total under the products and services. And notice I can't type in there anymore because it's pulling it from the products and services tab. So if I need to make an adjustment, I have to go back to the products and services tab. So again, you work in here, you save it. You can either go back to sample company to find that opportunity again and open it here, or you go to your opportunities module and you find it in your opportunities module. So I can, if I don't see it right away, I can type the name of the company. There it is, new big project, and it shows you the total. The close date, now I didn't fix that. The close date is when you anticipate closing the sale. So again, some of you have a fairly short lead time, some of you have a very long lead time. Set it to what is accurate. I'll set this out into March. And then the filters in your opportunity up here will allow you to see. So for example, those that have a close date of the next 2 months. So see, one in March. So these filters or views allow you to see your opportunities according to the close date. Now see, this one's really old. It goes back 2 years, but it's still active. So somebody's not keeping up with this. So use this. And then the other thing you can do, again, if you use the advanced search in the opportunities, you can then create your own view, your own filter, and save it. So this allows you maybe to see different people over different time ranges. So whatever you want to do, you can see the different filters and see the different opportunities, okay? Now, when you win an opportunity, or if you're working an opportunity and you're going to do quotes from Claritysoft, then you can take your opportunity and you can convert it to a quote. So I'll just keep following through with my sample company here. So I have this. I would set everything up, make sure the pricing is all right under my products and services. Now here's another way to do a convert. If I have the record open like I did before, I can do it from within the record. If I have the record saved and closed, I can click on this row action button and see convert to quotation or convert directly to a sale. So your opportunities can go directly to a sale. Some people do their quotes outside of Claritysoft because they're more proposal-like, or they have other special software for it, and they just put the total amount into the opportunity and then they want to convert it to a sale. Some people don't use the sales module because it goes directly to your accounting system. So it's very flexible in how you want to use it. And you just, you know, whatever your setup is, or if you're still deciding what your setup is, there's a lot of flexibility in how you do it. So these are the things that if you go through Quick Start with us, then we talk to you about all these different things as we set you up and help you set up. If you're beyond Quick Start, then you certainly can talk to our tech support team and they can make suggestions for you as well. But everybody sets up a little differently, and the system works with you and allows you to do whatever you really want to do with the system. Up here in the question mark, support portal, you can click in here and do a search. For example, if you wanted to know, let's just say custom fields, maybe you want to add custom fields. So it will take you to a list of topics. Notice there's Claritysoft Live custom fields and Claritysoft Offline. So you click on the link and it will take you to our help. This also expands over here to show you where you are in the outline over here, and then it'll explain all the different data types that you have available, and then how to set up different fields, how many you can have of each type. So use that part of the help system, and then you can click on the home to go back. And if you registered for the training schedule, here it is, and then video tutorials, we record everything and all the recordings are online here. If you have questions, best thing to do is call tech support at 888-838-7487 extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com. Well, with that, I'm going to say goodbye for the afternoon. We really appreciate everyone who does attend all these sessions. We get a pretty good crowd each week. And thank you so much for coming. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.